Hello, I'm Kasey Canlis. I am a research operations manager at Genesys, and I'm going to be talking today about improving UX research quality with cross-department collaboration. And I will never have a title that's this long ever again because it's terrifying. It will be 3 words at most. And I have a picture here so you can see what I look like if you're far away. So there you go. I'm Kasey Canlis. I've been research operations for 5 years, and I'm going to kind of talk about some collaboration, some tips, how you can kind of convince people using evidence that they want to see, and also just kind of like getting straight to the point, which hopefully I do well, because otherwise you'll all judge me very severely, and I'll be super sad. So basically what I kind of came up with this from was oftentimes I am at conferences, and I hear people say, I have so much to do. I'm on a team that's really small, or it's just me. Like, I'm the only person doing this job at my team. And they give me a million things to do, and I feel like I am overwhelmed. I can't do it. I'm underwater. And then they'll say, I don't know how to do this all by myself. And that's where I say, you're not all by yourself. Like, you are at a company. You have a team. You have an organization. Guess what? You're all working towards the same goals, so you're never actually alone. And yes, it feels that way, but there's a lot of people that are doing stuff that can really help you. And so I kind of just wanted to touch on that and give some of my previous experiences, and hopefully that'll help. So it doesn't matter. Like, whatever the size of your team is, look past that and think about who you have in your organization that you can collaborate with. So look at that. I am really good at this, I hope. So what I'm showing here is like a cross-functional structure that I've worked with before. And essentially you have your PMs, you have your devs, you have your product. Yeah, it's divided by products. And then you also have your UX researchers, your UX designers. Often there's kind of a ratio where it's like we have 5 million dev, and we have like 1,000 PM, and we have 3 researchers, and we have, I don't know, 10 to 50 designers. But still, it's not great. So then you're like, I guess I'll just work on a few projects. That's cool. It's totally neat. And there's a reason for that. You don't want to have a crazy amount of everybody. But, oh, sorry, I missed one. But I wanted to tell you, like, it's basically divided by products wherever I've worked, and then we talk about operation teams. So, like, I'm very fortunate that when I work at this large company, I've got PM ops, I've got dev ops, I've got, like, research ops, there's design ops. You can collaborate with those people because they're like the interconnective tissue that kind of know a little bit of everything, and they're often trying to fix things that you're trying to fix too. Like, you just don't realize it. You just don't have that conversation. So, like, part of it is getting to talk to them and know. Up here, I don't think I have to go through this, but I will. Like, it's a process, and you're probably familiar with this, but I can go through it. I'm not going to read it off of that thing because it's teeny tiny, so I apologize. I'm going to look over there for a split second. Basically, PM and UX ops, we collaborate on generative research, we develop wireframes and prototypes, we test concepts, usability. If everything goes well, which we know it always goes well, there's never anything that goes wrong, ever, in its life, yeah, then we'll get dev resources scoped and we'll build. Final reviews, beta if needed, which maybe, maybe not, product release, and then we're going to track analytics and make sure we did the right thing. But what I want to talk to you about is these things. Less is more. Follow that research. Break it down and find the right people. So these are our topics. I'm sure you're like, I totally know what she's going to talk about now. Those are very descriptive. Thank you so much. So it's hard for research to make an impact when you're not doing the right words, the right things for the people that want to know. Like, if, for example, I was like, hey, are you going to die of boredom at my presentation? Do you think that you've learned anything from me at all? Do you think you were paying attention? Do you think you were maybe sleeping after lunch? I don't know. But it's quality over quantity. So to make your research have an impact, here's what you should do. I hope you're reading this. I hope you can read it all. I mean, it's definitely 8-point font, and it's very, very visible. There's no problem, right? I'm kidding. How many of you actually started reading this? How many of you know what this actually means? Yes? I'm very impressed by you. I would have not. I have already turned off of this slide. Please no, don't do this. This is terrible. Here you go. It's the little pigs. That's just the little pigs. That's all it is. But a lot of you were probably like, yeah, I'm not reading that. I just want you to tell me the important part. Like, just tell me what matters and, like, let's move on. That's awful. Like, I can't believe you did that. And a lot of presentations end up being that way, where they throw everything into it because you're trying to prove, here's how well I did at the research. Here's how great I did at everything. And maybe not everybody cares about that. And it's not that it's not good. And it's not that you shouldn't have it there in that appendix and say, like, here's all of the things in the background that I did to validate this. But you want to make sure that what you see first is what actually matters to them. So I'm kind of going to talk about that a little bit more. And I have some, like, quick tips here. So first thing, make it easy to find and understand. Don't give them, like, everything. Chunk it out. Like, think about what is this actually, and, like, write an executive summary. Make sure you tell them, why did we do this project? Give them context and give them, like, three to five important bullet points, because that's where you'll, like, get them interested. That's the moment where they go, yeah, I do want to learn more about this. Maybe I will go to the details. Maybe I'll go to the appendix. But if you don't give them this, they're going to look at that report and go, yeah, I skimmed it. It was nice. You did great. So just, like, cut out the busy work. Figure out what they want and put it down there. And then making sure that you put everything somewhere that they can access, because you shouldn't just be thinking, like, just the researchers need to see this. Just the designers need to see this. Like, oh, only PMs. Like, anybody in the company that works with, like, product should probably have a chance to have access to those insights, access to your findings, and you're actually doing them a disservice by not putting everything there. And it's not just putting, like, here's a whole bunch of reports in one place. It's going, oh, I actually have a presentation. Here's my deck, because maybe they're visual learners. It's going, hey, here's a recording of me talking, because maybe they want to hear you talk and see you present. Like, if I handed you this deck, you're not going to get all the funny pieces and parts of me that is what makes, like, my presentation good. You're going to be like, I don't know what she was talking about. That deck's okay. It's not great. But I'm great, and the deck's okay. So, like, make sure that if you do have a presentation, if you do record it, put it in there with everything. Like, throw the prototype in too, because otherwise you're asking them to get context of something that may be clickable from no clicking. Like, they're just going to look at it and go, I kind of see what they did there. So just really thinking about curating to your audience, not going crazy and throwing everything at them, because they're not going to pay attention. And that's why I say, like, if everything's important, nothing's important. Nobody cares at all. And that's a rough thing to say, but it's true. Like, we want to get stuff fast, we want to keep moving, and we want to make sure that we don't slow anybody down. So you have to really think about who your audience is, because maybe you're going to give that same presentation to 3 different people, but you don't want to have the same stuff in it, and that's where you, like, throw that all in the appendix. Here's everything I could possibly ever want to share with people, but I only need these 3 things because that's all they care about. Sounds maybe right, maybe not? Is this making sense? Am I helping anyone? All right, yes, I like it. I like that we have a little bit of interaction here. Sometimes it's silent, and I think that you've all just, like, went away. Luckily, the lights aren't bright enough, so you actually have, and I can see you sitting here, so I'm very excited. Anyways, one of the things I also want to make sure that I say is when you have stakeholders, before I get into everything that they care about, make sure that as you are talking to them about UX, if they seem to be hesitant about anything, or maybe they don't understand things, take the time to educate them. You cannot expect everybody to know everything about UX like you do. You need to be able to say, you know what, I think, hey, can I share something with you? Like, or did you have any questions? And, like, really get into it and help explain to them what the UX things are. Like, what principles is there? If they have any questions about things, help educate them, because otherwise you're just expecting them to be an expert when you're the expert. And the whole point of being an expert is being able to share your knowledge. So you have to give them the context. So, like, don't just expect them to figure it out. They will not figure it out. And I mean that lovingly, but I also mean that seriously. So, next, I don't have to do this, but I like doing this. It makes it feel like I'm actually doing something. So you're just going to see this continuously. Anyways, here's PM and product management. And if there's any PMs in the crowd, you're probably like, this ain't true. She did a terrible job. And that's okay. But basically, PMs, product management, what do you need to know? You want to know, okay, what are the user's needs? What do we need here? Are we going to be able to make this project? Do we have enough dev people? Is it prioritized? And then, like, what findings and recommendations are there? And, well, is it usable? Do we actually want this thing? And if you don't have that, then, like, why are we even making this? What do you want to do if you want to really communicate to them, and you want, yes, we can hear me. You want to communicate to them or you want to convince them. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you talk about like the efficiency by the user as they're going through the product, as they're doing things, because that's one of the things they care about. They want to know that their product is able to be used. It's working well. And then you also want to make sure that you have empathy for users, and there's quotes and videos and stories. But if you use those, making sure you get permission from your participants, because you can't just like show that to everyone, because if you don't have permission, like you shouldn't do that. So like try to get permission, say like, hey, would you mind if we showed our videos or quotes or whatnot? Anonymized quotes. You can't anonymize videos unless you're getting really fancy and shady. I don't know how it works. I didn't say shady, I didn't mean that. That was just a random word that came out of my mouth. But anyways, and I say all this because you're like, efficiency by the user in the project is not exactly the same as empathy. And it depends on what the ideal is versus what the reality is. Because the ideal is like, they want to talk about, here's the empathy for the user, and we put the user at the center of everything, and we really thought about them as we were creating this feature. But in reality, they're thinking about, how many features can I get adopted? What is going on? Like, that's what matters to people, because you hear that so many times when you're in all hands, and they're like, we released 5 million features. Are we great? And then you're like, were they the right features? Just wondering, like, just curious. And so it depends. It depends on where you're at with your PMs. Maybe they are like, they're thinking ideals. They're thinking like, yes, we want to do quotes. We want to support it that way. But there might be people that are like, we just want to get this moving. So it's knowing kind of what they're thinking about and trying to appeal to them. So, once again, I can't stop this. Yeah, this is dev. And there should be devs in the audience. Maybe, I don't know. Do we have devs in the audience? You want to disagree with me? It's quiet. No? It's very important for devs, if they want to build something, if they want to implement something, that you're specific. You tell them what exactly you need from them. Anything that you don't put down in the brief, it's open to interpretation. And guess what? I'm going to interpret something different than you are. We don't have the same context. We don't have the same backgrounds. And so as a designer, if you are giving them things, or as somebody who is a researcher, making sure that whatever you give to dev is very clear. It's very much like talking about, here's what we expect, here's what specifications need to happen, here is the requirements we need to complete this thing. And we're going to look at it and we're going to say, okay, these are actually the important things out of these 50 things. And then we're going to say, and these are like the 40 nice to haves. And that's what dev cares about too. It's like, tell me what I absolutely need to have in there. Don't tell me about the other 40 things, and then we'll put that in V2. That'll be our next one. It doesn't need to be in the MVP. Like, it's a nice to have. I'm not wasting my precious time building something for you when I could just put that in the next iteration after we've learned more about it. So making sure that you are clear about that. And then, also, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. No, we're good. We're good. You want to make sure that you have, like, quantitative data. Devs love quantitative data. They like facts. Like, it's great. Empathy is really lovely, but it can also be fuzzy if you're someone who deals with logic and you just want to know, like, straight to the point. How many people use this? How many people like this? Like, give your devs more quantitative data, not as much qualitative data, because they're just trying to say, can I build this? Do we have the resources? How much are we going to be looking at? And is this something that's like, I'm trying to build Disneyland on a shoestring budget? If it is, they're going to tell you, like, no, that's not feasible. And they'll know that faster if they don't have 50 things to look through. They'll know if they have 10, and then, like, appendix, other 40. So, next thing. I'm never going to stop this. VPs, executives, anybody up above the VPs. I'm going to get water at some point. Need to know. So what do VPs want to know? What do anybody that's an executive want to know? They don't want to waste their precious time, because time is money, and they make a lot of money. So what it is like, tell me the facts. Show it to me, make it easy to understand, and then, like, I'll take whatever I need to know from it, and I'll go do my stuff. It's very important to know how to relate it to the business. They want to know, is this going to impact anything? They want to know, all right, what is the big advantage here? Like, how are we going to beat the competition? That's what they care about, because that's what they're being asked to deliver on. And then, oh, hey, guys, I'm so awesome, I brought a mint. This way I don't have to keep doing this with my mouth. I was hoping somebody would bring me a water, but it's been very silent and very sad. And I'm really sad about AJ because I thought he would bring me a water by supporting me, but instead he just gave me his belt so my pants wouldn't fall down. Hold on a second. Literally, this is his belt. I don't know if you saw it, but it's fantastic. We're the same size. I even used him as a dummy. Not as a dummy, I mean that nicely. But I used him as a mannequin so I could make sure I got the sleeves right. It was really good. Yes, thank you. There we go. I have 8 minutes, and now I can almost talk. All right, so I talked about visualizing. I mentioned executive summaries. Just tell them the basic facts. Context. Here's why we did this. 3 to 5 things, important. Don't go more than that. Don't you dare give them a whole page, because guess what? Skimming. And then they're going to go, and they're going to inform everything from that, and you're going to wish that you had been like, that wasn't the important part. Here was the important part. And it gets way more expensive to fix after the fact. So, yeah, learn that. And then we've got follow that research. Where am I at on slides? Oh, boy, we got to speed up. Okay. Don't just wave goodbye and let it go off on its own. You did not raise that research to just, like, let it go and live its own life separate from you. You want to check in every now and be like, you okay? You all right? You know what I mean? Like a meal or something? I don't know, but like, you need to follow it. See where it's going. There's like a Mitch Hedberg thing where it's like, I'm just going to ask it where it's going, I'll catch up with it later. And that's what I want you to do, okay? So what you're going to see is like, here's a basic standard. I wrote a report. I presented my findings. Stakeholders like, I love that. That's really cool. Great. And then you close the folder on that project, and then you're like, to the next project, let's go. And then that project just disappears into thin air because you haven't looked at it, and now it's imaginary. And that's one thing that will affect your research quality, because if you don't continue to find out where your research goes, you're not going to know the impact you have on your entire company and what the actual, I really need water. How many times do I need to say this? Guys, I love you, but somebody bring me water, save me. I'm not joking. There's no one. It's so sad. Yes, thank you, lovely. I appreciate you. I was like, man, this mint isn't doing it, guys. I was going to carry water on stage, but I was like, no, we're going to be very classy. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, now, what I think you should actually do, ta-da, talk to your stakeholders. Don't let them go away. Be like, hey, after I give you that presentation, do you have any questions? And just make sure that they let you know if they have any questions so you can explain it. Because you don't want them having the wrong idea and going off and doing something when you weren't clear about what you were delivering and what you were telling them on. And then you want to make sure that you confirm the next steps. With research, we know it's a lagging indicator. So we know that we're not going to find out the impact of it for weeks, months, years, I don't know, decades. No, I hope not decades. That would never go well. But anyways, if you have that, you're going to want to schedule those future check-ins. You're going to want to make sure that you say, did research lead to any important decisions? Did you follow my recommendations? And then later on, you're going to want to follow up and go, hey, you told me that this had like informed some decisions. What ended up happening from that? Did you cancel some projects from that? Because you were like, oh, this makes no sense. Did you add new projects? Guess what? That's impact. Make sure that that doesn't get lost in the ether. And then we are going to go here again. Ta-da. 5 minutes. We're doing great. We're going to break it down. And it's not in a dancing kind of way. I'm not that cool. I'm not a great dancer when it comes to like cool dancing. So what I mean is when you are a researcher, and I say researcher meaning you're doing research. This doesn't have to be a researcher. This can be a designer as too. So when I say that, think of whoever it is that does research. That's what I mean. It's all inclusive. Making sure that you are able to break it down after you build it up. Because when you have research, you're going to interviews, you're talking to people, and you have all these pieces and parts. So then you're building this story, and you're making it work great, and here's all this evidence. But then if you don't break it back down into little pieces, that one big chunk of everything will get applied to things, and no one will actually look at it. They won't realize what pieces and parts you're trying to talk about. So it's important to break it down. And what I mean by that is Atomic UX research. This is not mine. I linked it there. You can see it when you get the deck. But I want you to think about it as, what is the product versus project? Don't go project to project. How is this impacting the product? And then making sure that you keep those findings in rotation. Making sure that, like, does this need to go somewhere else? Should this be a finding that provides evidence for something else? It shouldn't just end with the project. And so he breaks it down into experiments, facts, insights, and opportunities. You can read it there, because I only have 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So we're just going to roll through this. But essentially what it is we have facts, insights, and conclusions. And there's so many different ways that they can be put together. But if you don't break it apart, you're not going to put it together. No one's going to sift through all that information after the fact. It's important, once you finish that project, that you take that time and you break that down so it can be applied to everything else, because otherwise you are leaving so much evidence, so much learnings, findings, recommendations, insights, you name it, it's all on the cutting room floor, and we're better than that. So please break down your research in a good way. And it's also going to be able to make more connections across the board, and you're not going to have as much like duplicative work, because you'll be able to look and go, oh, we did that already. So no, we don't have to do this one. We already have it. We already figured that out. And then, where do you store it? In a research repository. And I'm sure you're like, oh, cool, what tool do you use? It doesn't matter about the tool. I'll talk about that in a second. But essentially, it's like making sure everything that you have is in a shared knowledge network. It's easy to find, like the company has access to it. Preferably, it's anonymous, like research data. You're not putting your raw data in there, but it's everything that they need to go and look at and be able to find their research themselves, so they're not relying on a researcher to pull that out. And then we know that researchers are often contributors. You're often the ones that are in there, you're curating it and stuff. But everybody from the company can go in there and look. And it's really nice if they're like, hey, remember that project that you did on XYZ? Guess what? I want to know more about that. You don't have to take all that time. You just have to go into wherever you put it, SharePoint, you name it, and say, oh, here it is. Here's the link. You can go look at it, and then they'll be able to see what else it matters to. Preferably, it's linked to something else, so then they can go see what pieces and parts there are. And then, like, it also just allows everyone to see everything, because it's really helping them to inform their decisions through research. Because otherwise, as other speakers have talked about, it's just going to be off of their, like, best guess, their perspective, and it's not really going to be informed by research. And do you want that to be your business goals? Right. Love it. So then we have what matters most. Structure it. Make sure you think about your end user in mind. I know we're really good at that because we are user experience. And so it's thinking, what are they going to need to do and what are they going to need to see in order to find the information that they need to and then move on. And then making sure that you have a taxonomy. Tags are going to categorize that. It's going to make it so they can search easily and they can find, like, oh, here's a project. We saw Richard have, like, his whole taxonomy with, like, all the beautiful colors and everything you could think of. And that would help people find stuff. So it's making sure that it's logically done in a tagging way. I can't wait to find a librarian at some point so I can have them do this for me, because I'm not great at it. I need someone, and then it'll make sense and it'll be easier for people. And then I've said, company-wide access, limit the raw data, and maintenance is required. We saw AJ, who gave me the belt, lovely. Anyways, he said that, like, you can't just create something and then, like, automate it and let it go. It'll be fine. It'll keep doing its own thing. It'll maintain itself. You have to have somebody there to go through and be like, are we following the processes? Are we doing this right? Or is, like, everything going a little bit haywire? Because otherwise, if you just set it and forget it, it's went haywire, like, at some point in time. And if you catch it sooner, it's better than catching it later, believe me. Yeah, find the right people. So, how many of us love recruitment? We all love recruitment, right? It's our favorite thing of all time? I thought so. Quality participants means quality research. How many times do you go, yeah, I'm looking for elementary science teachers. I got like 20 of them. I got so many people. And you reach out to them, and you're like, this is great. And then you also have criteria, and it's like, yeah, I need you to see if you have five years of experience. This is additional criteria. And your prospects start to dwindle, because then they're like, no, I don't have 5 years of experience. You're like, that's okay, we still got plenty of people. And then they're like, oh yeah, they need to specialize in STEM integration. You're like, cool, that's fine, yeah, we're good. But then, like, now you only have 5 people, and maybe some people didn't respond back, and they're not going to, because they're just like, no chance. I don't want to be in a study, I don't want to do it. Now you have 5 people. You have enough to actually get your findings. But let's say maybe someone cancels. Let's say maybe someone doesn't schedule. Let's say someone just ghosts you rudely. This happens. I mean, once upon a time, it was a beautiful, perfect world, and every participant showed up. They scheduled. They had great things and did not lie about who they were. And it was just so easy. You could say, I have 5 people and they're going to be here, and it's all going to go great. And I'm never going to have to change my criteria because I couldn't find enough people. And then now my research is affected because I don't have the right people. And so I'm going to tell you that this is where you're going to look at your company, because your company has people that talk to your customers. And the great thing about that is they're like everybody that's customer-facing. That's sales. That's if they run a messaging board, like for customers. That's if you have people that are working with partners or somebody that's like onboarding your customers. Anybody like that, running like anything, and especially PMs. As funny as this sounds, you ask PMs like, have you ever interviewed anybody? And they'll be like, no, definitely not. I wouldn't do that without any processes. You're like, cool. And then you say, oh, where'd you get that data? And they're like, oh, well, I was talking to so-and-so, and they told me this, and so that's how I'm going to inform everything. And it turns out they have like a really long list that they just kept in their back pocket and never shared with you. And so it's great to ask them if they can share those people with you, because your PMs often know somebody who is using that feature or who is doing this task or something like that. And so like helping democratize that and say like, oh, if you know somebody for this project, like tell us about it. And maybe you can provide the introduction to whoever it is who can provide the participants, because that's how we get a lot of participants. You are literally talking to sales. They know everything about this customer. They're like, this is our best customer. They are power users. And then we also know a couple people that aren't power users. They would be great for this study. But if you don't set up the one-on-one and you don't talk to whoever it is that seems to interact with customers, you're not going to know about it. And so finding those people is very important in order to find the right participants. I'm getting real close. I'm wrapping it up. It's okay. All right. Yeah, she just did this, and it's getting intense. Basically, quality over quantity. Don't let your research go unsupervised. Like, make sure it goes where it should, and like people are following recommendations. And if they're not, like, make sure you prioritize it and you've like made it clear and actionable, because otherwise you're just giving them a list of like, here's everything. And then breaking down your research. Break down your research so you can put it into all kinds of pieces and parts. It's great. And the last one is finding the right people. Who knows customers and who's willing to help you? If you contact somebody and they're like, yeah, I don't want to, then go to the next person. You don't need to deal with him. It's fine. Or her, or them. It's fine. And then lastly, I know this seems like I just told you everything to do, and now I'm going to say, no, don't believe me. You do need to talk to whoever your stakeholders are, and you do need to find out what they care about. I'm giving you like a broad generalization, and everybody's individuals. So like, don't take it as this is the be-all, end-all. I said that backwards, but yeah. All teams, stakeholders, unique. Projects differ across companies. I'm done. 23 seconds.